I've made a career out of fixing things. Right after high school, I joined the Navy. I'm actually in that picture. I was an aviation anti-submarine warfare technician. I fixed things for the government. After 8 years in the Navy, I came to the commercial aviation world, where I work on passenger airplanes. I'm able to work on airplanes that connect our passengers all over the world. After some years in being a mechanic, I moved to engineering. In engineering, I found I can fix a lot of airplanes with one document. After being an engineer for a while, I became a fleet manager. I owned the reliability of 200 airplanes. See, I was always fixing things. It's what I did. I was good at it. I lived for the challenge of working on the most broken airplanes. And then on February 5th, 2011, I got the phone call that would change my life forever. You see, it was a normal Saturday. I got up, I went and played 18 holes of golf, and I played quite well. I came home, I laid on the couch, and I watched the golf tournament. Did I tell you I played well? So I was calling my son Jason, my youngest son. He was 25 years old. He was a couple time zones away out west working on the pipeline because I wanted to tell him how well I played. Every time I called, I got Jason's voicemail, never his voice. You see, Jason was out working on the pipeline to raise money so that he could come home, marry his fiancée, adopt her 3-year-old son, and start his own life. See, my wife and his fiancée, they were out shopping for the wedding. I called, and she called. Always voicemail, never voice. I did get a phone call. A police officer in Ogden, Utah called me. He said, "I've located your son, and he's deceased." At that moment, I went from planning a wedding to planning a funeral. You see, this guy that had been fixing things his whole life, all of a sudden was broken. The next phase of my life I call the fog. It was dark, depressing. I was lost, but I reverted to what I knew. I decided I was going to fix things. So I started looking at caskets, buying cemetery plots, looking at clothes. I was becoming a funeral planner. You see, the first 2 to 3 weeks after you lose a child, you're surrounded by friends and family and support. But after about 3 weeks, the world goes back to living. And you find yourself standing there holding your reality. I knew I couldn't fix this. I promise you I tried. The support from my team at work was phenomenal. They made sure all of my work got done while I was out. They made sure when I came back that I could come back at my pace. That was awesome support. It's not what I needed. You see, unless you've lost a child, you have no idea what to say to someone who has. In a hangar of 5,000 people, I was alone. So fast forward about a year, a guy who worked for me, who knew what I had been through, he connected me with another man named Kent Bishop. He's the one on the far end. Kent lost his son about 4 months after I lost my son. And he was out on the hangar floor just trying to do his job, trying to make it through every day. And our common friend said, "You guys need to talk. You have something that you can share with each other." So Kent and I went between the hangars to talk about where we'd been, how we got here. We shared our stories with each other. We cried. We showed the tattoos that we got for our kids. You can imagine there wasn't a mechanic that would come within 50 feet of us at that moment. That night, as I was driving Jason's truck home, as I did every night after he passed away, it hit me. That felt right. He got me. I felt better because I made a connection. And I thought, why don't we reach out and make something for more parents who've been through what I'd been through. That was the birth of Wrenched Hearts. You see, Wrenched Hearts was born in tech ops. We're all a bunch of gearheads, so Wrenched Hearts really kind of worked. But also, what we went through was heart-wrenching. So I approached our leadership and asked if I could start a support group for parents who had lost kids. And support was immediate. Our first meeting was February 5th, 2013, 2 years to the day after Jason passed away. 10 parents showed up. It was an awkward first date. We didn't know what we were going to do. But what we did do is we told each other our stories, how we got there. We asked each other how we're doing. Because once you lose a kid, people stop asking you how you're doing. They're afraid you'll tell them. After the first year, this group of 10 grew to 35 in tech ops. And we realized quickly we need to take this to a bigger stage. There's 80,000 employees out there. So again, we approached leadership and we said, can we take this to the company? And support was immediate. Today, we have 250 members. We meet in Atlanta, Minneapolis, Detroit, Salt Lake City, and there's more cities coming. You see, this group is what these parents needed. These parents have told me, this saved my life. Many of you today, sitting here, work side by side with someone who's going through a really tough time. There's a national bereaved parents group called Compassionate Friends. They partnered with the U.S. government and did a study. What they found was 10 to 15% of parents will lose a child. In a company of 80,000 employees, if half of those are parents, that's 40,000 people. If we take the low end of 10%, 4,000 employees should be impacted and be part of my group. I've only met 250, so I have some more people to meet. See, I hope none of you ever have to join my group. Honestly, the dues are too expensive. Wrenched Hearts is Jason's legacy. See, he helped people. He could be caught in the hotels he was staying at, sharing his faith with the janitor or helping the maid staff. Having this group is almost a good reason for me to lose my son. I still can't fix it, but I can help others who are going through it. You see, each of us parents, we have a specific shaped hole in our heart, shape of our kids. Something powerful has emerged from his life. There's meaning in people's lives. Jason's life and death now stand for healing and help. I hope Wrenched Hearts is standing long after I'm gone. And when I say gone, I mean retired. What better legacy to leave behind than a legacy of hope and a legacy of help? That will give meaning to his death and to his dad's loss. Thank you.